What's going on? So to all my wonderful Facebook family, I feel like it's been like 200 years since I've been here hanging out and talking. We finished 2017 and I was like I couldn't breathe. This is the truth. Like it was crazy. And now we started 2018. We've already come off to a great start. I took a handful of weeks to just sit down and breathe. You want to stay tuned. Let me tell you why you want to watch this, okay? I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, but what's up, Diana? How you doing? So here's the thing. I absolutely hate New Year's resolutions. We are finishing 2 weeks of being off. And I said to myself, after sitting, pondering, looking at the sky, smelling the air, I've been working really hard on our communities and teaching the best of this fact. I hate New Year's resolutions. I have never been able to do them. I miss you too, baby. I miss you like crazy. You just don't know. Listen, I have never been able to do a New Year's resolution. I have never really tried. I have totally set some goals. Let me tell you where I'm taking our community onwards to freedom, where I'm taking our community Freedom 52. These are 3 simple concepts. If you are like me and you hate New Year's resolutions and you make them time and time again and you're like, how the flip do I make sure? Like, how do I just make sure that I have a killer year and that my year doesn't suck and that I get close, if not to my actual goal, okay? So stay with me. Number 1, I'm going to come here on my nifty diffy board. I'm totally going to ask someone to share this. I'm going to share this wherever we can. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Tiffany Largy, and my journey begins maybe about 14 years ago, where I start this crazy journey in Miami, Florida as a single mom. I spend my entire, just forever, it feels like, just frustrated and angry and broke and pissed off. And once I made a decision to stop thinking small, once I decided to stop letting other people define who I was and let their perceptions of what they thought of me, right? Because I didn't have a college education. I didn't have a college education. I didn't have any degrees. I didn't have any certifications. I didn't have any licenses. And here I am, a single young mom with 2 girls, and they're 18 months apart. And I have no clue where dad is at this time. So I start this journey of becoming, of walking into something unknown. So anyhow, here's what's important for me. Over the last decade, I've been able to build a handful of multiple 6-figure businesses, and then I went on to build a multiple 7-figure business. And now I lead a community called Onwards to Freedom. And what is exciting for me is that I've spent the last couple of weeks meditating and thinking about what's important. So I'm going to give you the 3 steps that I use, have used, will continue to use to ensure that I have an absolute killer year. So here's number 1. Defining this. What do I want? Now, here's the thing. I want a lot of things. That's the truth. Like, I totally want a lot of things. I want things for my life. I want things in my relationship. I want things to happen in my business. I want things to happen with friends, with clients. But like, I want you to ask yourself this question. If you had to boil down the whole year and ask yourself a serious question, which is, what's the one thing that, damn it, it has to happen no matter what in this year, almost like come hell or high water? Like, that question for me allows me to boil all these ideas and all these things and all these feelings and emotions of things that I want. And it allows me to boil it down to, like, what's the one thing that killer has to happen, right? Now, for me, at this point, once I know the one thing, like last year, I needed to launch a program called Freedom 52. And I absolutely was determined to bring our community to local chapters across the country. And I've done it, which was crazy exciting. But here's the thing. You don't just wake up and say to yourself, okay, this is what I want. Like, what's the one thing that has to happen this year? Because whatever the one thing that has to happen this year, I don't care if you're looking at your life thinking, I absolutely have to meet Mr. Right. I absolutely need to have a child. I need to buy a house. I need to start a business. I need to get to 6 figures in my business. I need to hit 7 figures. Like, whatever the one thing that has to happen, here's what I want you to consider. Like, what will it take to get there? So on my wall right now, I always have this. Like, what's the 5 most impactful steps, like biggest things? What's the 5 things that lead me to whatever I want? So for example, like, it's the hardest thing to do is to focus on everything, which is why I don't create New Year's resolutions, which is why I don't create a ton of to-do lists, because I know that I'm going to set myself up for failure, and I know I'm going to feel frustrated, and I know I'm going to feel like emotionally like I suck, and I don't want to do that. So because I hate New Year's resolutions, like on my wall right now, whatever it is that you want, you follow this, I promise you, you will get so much closer to the objective and the goal. Like what I want, the one thing I want to happen, what 5 things do I need to focus on in the first part of the year to make it happen? Like, because here's the thing, I may say to myself, well, here are 5 steps, and if I give myself the entire year to get them done, they'll never get done. I'll totally not do them. I'll put off step number 2, 3, and 5 just because I'm gonna make up excuses and time and whatever it might be. For me, these little dots resemble planting seeds. So in the month of January, I do nothing more than spend all of my time planting these 5 simple seeds. And the reason why I do that is because I know that at some point, like everything in nature, you plant enough seeds, they will germinate. You get what I'm saying? Like the time to plant the seed is not July. The time to plant the seed to make that big thing happen is not December. Damn it, it's definitely not December, okay? It's totally not December, but absolutely for sure, it is 110%. It is in January, maybe February. So for me, I spend all of my time with these 5 things. So here's the example. If it for me was I absolutely have to buy a house, number 1, I need to pull my credit report. Second, I need to go and make an appointment with XYZ person. 3, I need to go and tour 5 neighborhoods that I really like and start getting an idea for what type of a house I want, and more importantly, what neighborhood I want to be in. Number 4, I actually would take the next step and say, what do I want my house to look like on the inside? So I might start building like a Pinterest or a folder or a 3-ring binder, something that allows me to keep my ideas and my excitement and my emotions inside. Like this makes it easy for me to say, no, this is happening. So many times we think about that big thing that we want, but then we don't put like ourselves into action. We don't put ourselves in motion. We don't plant seeds. So like it's still hard for us to see it possible because we've got this idea, but there's no seeds in the ground. And if there's no seeds in the ground, you can't anticipate and emotionally think about things growing. Does that make sense? Like if you don't plant seeds, nothing can grow. And if you emotionally and mentally don't know that there's seeds in the ground, then you can't anticipate and wait and prepare yourself and your life for that thing to happen. It's just a fact. There's just like no way around it. I have tried. Baby, have I tried. Like I have tried. You know what I'm saying? Like I've tried way too many times. Here's the thing. I take this one killer thing that I absolutely have to have happen. Forget my long list, just the one. I ask myself, what 5 seeds do I need to plant? And then I spend all of the first month planting the hell out of those seeds. Like planting them, replanting them, watering them, shining sunlight, like doing everything I possibly can to ensure that not only do I have this bed, if you will, think of it almost like a flower bed, or think of it almost like not just like a flower bed, but think of it like your own garden. You get it? Like that one thing, your dream, your want, whatever's making your heart pitter patter for this year or the year to come. Absolutely, you have to have a garden for this thing to grow. So this for me is number 1. Do you know what you want? The one item, and is it visible? Forget a vision board. I hate vision boards. If you haven't heard me teach on that, I do. Because they never tell me how to get from where I am to where I want to be. But I do believe in visuals, right? Which is why I respect vision boards. Because if you've never had a vision of something, then totally it makes sense to take the things that you want, the things that make your heart pitter patter, stick them on a wall so that you can see it time and time again. You know what I mean? Yes, Liz, you're so right. You totally reap what you sow. But you have to plant the seeds. You have to plant the seeds. The 5 things that it'll take to get what you want. So first, you decide what you want. That makes sense? After you decide what you want, then you need to ask yourself, what 5 things that do I absolutely have to get done? Hey, Suzanne, how you doing? Do I have to get done in order for this? Hey, Suzanne, can you do me a favor and share this inside of the group? That'd be awesome. So it would be it's really valuable, not only for you to list out these 5 things, but then more importantly, to spend all your time planting the seeds, because totally if you plant the seeds, the big thing happens. All right, so now this is like step number 1 for me. I hope this makes sense. Step number 2, yes, I know I'm erasing with my hand. It drives everyone crazy, but it's easy for me. I know. Step number 2 is asking yourself, where am I weak? Okay, like for me, this is number 2. This makes it crazy easy for me to make sure that not only do I have the right objective, but I know where I'm deficient. Like, where am I weak? Do you ever ask yourself, like, where you're weak? Like, you know, right now I have 2 questions. Where am I weak in life? Where am I weak in business? For me, where I'm weak in business is often reflected anywhere else you want. Absolutely. That is perfect. And if anyone else is willing to share it, this would be awesome. So the thing is that, like, you almost have to ask yourself this question, which is, where am I weak? You know, I ask myself this question on both sides of the house because I know for a fact that one plays off the other and vice versa. So it's like I ask myself where I'm weak in business. I know what area I'm weak in business, which means I cut out the majority of the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018. I cut out a lot of it so that way I can focus my time, energy, and effort on getting better in that area and immersing myself. Like, I mean, total submersion. This for me is how I make sure that I don't give myself the excuse to get out, that I don't give myself the excuse to not do it. Like, because yes, I can hire people. Yes, we can just outsource it, but nothing is stronger, bigger, and badder than you learning it for yourself. So before I hand off things, before I bring in partners or hire, I always spend the time myself. And even though I hate it and it sucks and I'm like, this is boring, it doesn't change the fact that if I really want to be the master in it, or I know, hey, my business, I have an area of my business where it's totally, absolutely weak right now, and I'm like, hey, this is the area I've got to spend all my time. I ask myself the question, where am I weak, right? Now, I may come up with 5 different things, but there's one thing that kind of sticks out more than the others. Now, if I do this on business, I win because I'm all in. This is where I'm reading the books, I'm reading the blogs, I'm spending time talking to the experts, I'm reaching out to who I know, I'm tapping into my resources. Remember, I believe 100%, if you've never heard me say this, it is never, ever, ever a lack of resources. It is always 100% a lack of resourcefulness. Man, if you haven't written that down, you totally should write that down. We just wrote that down on our wall in our office not too long ago. It's never, ever, ever a lack of resources. It is 100% a lack of resourcefulness. That's a fact, period, because we all have things right around us, things and people and know-how and expertise, and we're just not willing to spend the time and dive into them, or we're allowing fear from picking up that phone call, sending that text message, reaching out on Facebook, reaching out on LinkedIn. So not only am I spending the time answering this question, where am I weak? Once I answer that question, I'm like, this is where I'm weak. This is what I do next. This is where I'm buying a few books in this area. This is where I'm going to spend about an hour, if not more, reading blogs and other people's platforms, people who I respect in the industry who do this. And then after this, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up the flipping phone. I'm going to pick up the doggone phone and I'm going to start sending text messages and making calls, and I'm going to send Facebook messages to be like, yo, can we jump on the phone right quick? Yo, can we talk a little bit? Because I know you have a level of expertise in this. Now, I'm not asking them to coach me, right? But more importantly, if you've got a level of expertise in this and they can just give me an insight as to what are we talking about for me, I want to understand the industry or the drive. I don't want to know how to do it. I have to figure that out by learning and by lessons. But hands down, do not be afraid to pick up the phone and reach out to people. Period. Do not be afraid to reach out to people. If you're not part of our Onwards to Freedom community, hell, you can post in there and and if I'm not answering, one of our cool people who have a ton of expertise will totally answer questions and they won't charge you or none of the above. Like, hands down, I'm not saying you need to pick someone's brain because you can't do that. That's not right. But if you have friends, you've got people who are excelling in areas. You've got people who are connected to you. Maybe they're in your social circles, or maybe they're in programs that you're part of, and they have a level of expertise. You are missing out on the resource that has been given to you, that is right around you, to move your needle forward, to get what you need so that you can grow faster. Because let me tell you, growing slow makes no sense to me, period. Why grow slow if you can grow fast? It's just my perspective. Why make $10,000 this month if you can make $20,000 by doing the same things, just doing them a little bit better and tweaked a little bit better? Does that make sense? And a lot of times we're afraid because we don't want to seem abrasive. We don't know if that person's going to receive it. We don't know if they even like us. We're afraid of hurting their feelings or being too much. Here's the thing. I grow by asking questions because there's so much I don't know. There's so much I don't get. Cheryl, how you doing? We were just talking about you. I can't wait. Listen, I was talking about this. You are it, lady. How you doing? Listen, our Los Angeles Freedom chapter is happening, I believe, in the next couple of weeks. Yes, you gotta be there. So exciting. All right, sorry, everybody. So here's the deal. Here is the absolute deal. You owe it to yourself to tap into the resources that you have. Ask yourself this question. Who do I know? No, it's not crazy. You are the bomb.com. Absolutely. And if you don't know, Cheryl was at our sold out event in Las Vegas in November, and she did something that just shut up everybody. The woman went and she got a tattoo. On day 2, she went and got a tattoo. She inspired the hell out of me. She may be my favorite attendee of any of my events. Sorry to everybody else. And I am secretly in love with you. So just know that. You kill it and kick ass. Continue to push forward, mama. You're so, so close. All right, so sorry, everybody. But here's the thing. For me, like, I know for a fact that if you're willing to tap into the resources that you have, maximize every God-given resource that you've got now. You owe it to your business. You owe it to your life. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your friend. You owe it to your flipping dreams. You owe it to your dreams. Do you hear me? Like, you owe it to your dreams. You owe it to yourself to get there. Use the resources that you have. So I asked myself this question. Where am I weak in business? I knew exactly where it is I'm weak in business. I have rolled up my sleeves. I've pulled back my hair. And I'm spending the next couple of weeks, I spent the last couple of weeks, and I'm spending actually the first part of this year, the first 5 to 6 months, I mentally will be knee deep in this side of my business because I need to make it stronger. But here's the thing. I also did the same thing on the personal side of me, and I'll share it with everybody because I love to share it. Like, you do that on the business side, but then you've got to jump over to your personal life. You cannot have one without the other. It's like stupid. So like for me, I knew that there were things in my life and people in my life that I was not digging deep enough. I knew that there are more things that I'm passionate about, and I keep going like this. I'm like, man, people are going to hate on me. People are going to walk away from our community. I know that some people are going to be like, what the hell happened to Tiffany? And you know what I said to myself as I finished this year? I learned some hard lessons last year. I spent a lot of last year sick, but my Onwards to Freedom community totally schooled me. They schooled me in a way where they made me realize that it's okay to be all of me. Like, even though I've been teaching them that for the last 2.5 years, man, we're such a tight family and Onwards to Freedom that it's crazy. And I've never loved a set of people so much. Like, I've got my family that I live with, but make no mistake about it. And you guys know who you are. Like, I love you. I do. I think about you all the time. I want to hang out with you all the time. I want to throw more events so we could just all show up and party together. It's really ridiculous. But you know what you showed me? That I had a responsibility to own more parts of myself, to walk into more things that I'm excited about, to really and truly dive deeper in relationships. And so the word I stepped into was passion. And in our Freedom 52 community, absolutely, it's passion. I will not do anything this year in 2018 or moving forward in my life that doesn't make me go, because if it doesn't get me, if I'm not excited, that means I'm only showing up like 83%. And I flipping want to live 119% in everything I do. It's a decision I made. Everything, relationships, love, friends, programs that we have, events that we do. Like, I do not want to do things for the sake of making money, for the sake of making someone happy, for the sake of keeping things even, Steven. I can't do that anymore because we only have this life, and I'll be damned if I spend this life, you know, not being more of what I want to see in the world. And what I really want to see in the world, especially as I continue to grow and my children continue to grow and the people I love in the world continue to build and grow, I want to see more of people standing up for who they are. I want to see more people stand and say, this is who I am, it's okay. I want to see more people, you know, not be ashamed of the vices that they have or doing some of the things that they like to do. I want to see more people being like, it's okay to be me. It's okay that I have this drink, and like, it's okay if I pick this up. Like, I want people to stop living in shame. I lived in shame for so long, and I lived in shame because I walked away from the fact that I like to have wine at certain multiple times of the day. I walked away from, I like certain words. They make me feel good. They make me clear on what I'm saying. Like, and I did it because I've always wanting to appease people around me. And I'm like, I'm so done with that. I've been teaching it in 2017, but I realized as I ended the year and as so many people started loving me, I needed to start being more of what I was teaching and more of what I want to see in the world. So, where are you weak? Business and in life. Get it together. Just like a sentence for each. You don't need an essay. Just one sentence will be so good. Absolutely. And you know what's funny, Suzanne? Not only do people clear about that, but you know, it's like my responsibility is to be as real and as tangible as I continue to grow on my own journey as I can for the community that I serve, because I realize I'm leading in that capacity. And if I want other people to step up in the midst of people who are next to them, not next to them, clients and customers, because me as I am, that's the only thing I really have to offer. Me offering and you offering another version of yourself is no good. Like, we as we are with the things that we do, like, that's the best version of us. And we just have to own it, be proud of it, and be willing to share it with other people. And not say take it or leave it, but really and truly put yourself in a position where you're like, I am proud of who I am. I like this. This feels good. I am comfortable in this skin. Thank you very much, and I really hope that you can meet me halfway and be excited about who I am too and what I like to do, okay? So after this, number 3. So number 3, here it is, my ultimate. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Listen, you can't do it alone. You cannot do it alone. You know, one of the biggest mistakes I made in getting to 6 figures my first time is I was riding solo. But I'm going to tell you, I probably spun my wheels way more than I need to. I probably could have made $200,000 more all 3-4 years. I probably could have done a lot. I probably could have had more fun, more friendships. I didn't really have I should have, because I missed out on having more fun. I missed out on laughter. I missed out on good times because I was always alone, and I kept it alone. And even when I was getting to 7 figures, like, I started building people around me, but I don't think I did it fast enough. And you know, one of the greatest, one of the things that has moved me, my business forward and me forward the fastest, has been bringing people closer and being part of a community. I can't tell you, like, being under this umbrella of something has allowed me a lot of security and confidence and insight and knowing that if I fall, there's someone to catch me. Like, I can't even put into words how important that is. And I ended last year, or I started last year, it's not truth. I started last year knowing that this is one of the biggest things that it's easy to do things alone, but it's so much easier to do things with other people. It's so much easier to be in a place where you know that you've got people who share your heart, that you've got people who want to connect with you, you've got people who are walking on the same journey, people who get you, people you don't have to hide from, people who you could be like, yo, this is all of who I am, and all of who I am is okay. Like, I'm going to tell you, I think I would have made 3 times the amount of money in the last 12 years of my life if I had been part of a community, if I had felt like I had community, if I had felt like there were other people like me, a dreamer who's like, it's like I wanted to be alone. And I get that. You had trouble with this after your recent divorce. I get that. You know, when my ex-husband left, I felt abandoned. I felt betrayed. I felt belittled. I felt like I was frustrated a lot. And not even too long after that, like, I was making 6 figures, but I still was very insecure. That's the truth. Like, I was crazy insecure at moments. And, you know, he used to tell me a lot of things, like people didn't like me and they thought I was strange, and, you know, and I didn't work well with other people. And so I took those things. And even though I thought, I was like, oh, I don't, you know, it doesn't matter. I've got this. Like, I'm good to go. It doesn't change the fact that I still allowed so many of the things he told me while we were married to play a role in my head. And more importantly, I allowed them to play a role, but I also believed them myself. So I started living like that, and I kind of, not hermit crab, but I mean, if I wasn't working and being, because I was in sales, if I wasn't working and knocking on a door, I was like this, you know? And I totally realized that that was the number one thing that was crippling my butt. So here I am, fast forward. I learned that community is it is the number one thing that's allowed me to build and grow fast over the last 5 years of my life. And it is the number one reason why I'm stupidly excited about the Onwards to Freedom family that I started. You know why? Because it's really not about me. All I've done is I get the luxury of being able to go and meet people. And I love meeting people. But then I get to go into crowds and find my people. Because my people, you know what they have? They're all dreamers. They're like me. At some point, they were the underdog in their world. At some point, they had people who just told them they couldn't do it. They weren't going to be enough. They, you know, they left them for someone else better. They passed them up on opportunities. And I know that for me, like, I had happened to me so many times in my life. I'm like, I know there are more people like me out there, and they're not black, they're not white, they're not woman, they're not young. They don't have red lipstick. They could be male and Muslim and LGBTQ. They could be short. They could be fat. They could be a million things. They don't have to look anything like me or have a lifestyle like me. But I know that they have a heartbeat like me. And that is like the number one thing that we drive and look for each and every day, which is why I'm so excited about Freedom 52. Listen, here's the deal. You have to plug yourself into a community. So my number 3 of like, how do you kill it in 2018? The first 2, golden. Last one is don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Dear Jesus, don't do it alone. I wasted so much of my life by trying to do this thing alone, by trying to grow alone. And it wasn't just on my business side. Even me trying to grow as a mom, trying to grow as a woman, trying to grow as a friend, because I had to grow into that. I had to trust, because I didn't trust people. You know, I didn't trust people, and it was hard for me to love people and to believe people for their face value. So I had to learn all those things a lot after being hurt so badly. And so for me, like, that is it. Don't do it alone. Here's my thing. If you don't have a community today, come to mine. We want you. We flipping want you. Damn it, do we want you. We want you, we love you, and we need you. So I wholeheartedly say that, but if it doesn't have to be ours, you can go to another. Freedom 52, hands down, is a community that I adore. It is under the Onwards to Freedom family, and it is a simple version of each and every week, our family is taking a step each and every week to bigger and better their lives, and then bigger and better their business. And what's really cool is we take the step together. I'm taking the same step as the rest of our community, and it is just all about love and support and connection in person and sleepovers, which I hear about, and late night conversations. And right now we're actually offering it. We're trialing it for $1. For $1, you can jump into our world, and then after that, I don't remember exactly how it is, but I think there's one that's like $39 a month or something like that. Come hang out with us. Give us a try just for $1, if nothing else. If you do not have a community, come hang out with ours. Why? Because I know we rock. But I know there's a lot of awesome other communities out there. We're just a random group of dreamers. Yes, absolutely. Who are determined to build our businesses. And I'm determined to put out a handful of people who run 7-figure businesses. That's my personal goal. Why? Because I want my own pool of people that I can turn to help me do some of the things that my heart desires, like helping provide more water to the rest of the world, helping other countries develop their economies, helping children that are still living in orphanages, helping people after natural disasters, giving more women the opportunity to participate in entrepreneurship. Like, the list goes on. And that's where my heart lies. And I realized, you know, yes, I hit 7 figures, but it didn't mean that I was rolling in $1 million in cash, by no means. So I realized at that point the greatest impact that I could have on the world was to get out and teach what I know, because I built these businesses. None of them were in coaching. And so after building a handful of brick and mortar businesses, I realized that not only can I teach other people to do the same thing, but I can build a community of people who all want to give. and we're a sea of givers and sea of lovers and givers and dreamers. Lovers, givers, and dreamers. Oh, I should make that into something. Lovers, dreamers, and givers. Yes, and so I know 100% that there is room for you. So here are the 3 things. I love it. I'm glad you spent this time with me. This was killer. I'm so glad to be back in Facebook in 2018. I got more of this coming. Come hang out with us in one of our groups. Come connect with us in any way you can. I absolutely love you to pieces, and me. I'm wishing you a killer 2018. I'm ready to get started. See ya.